Hey everyone, I'm Amber from Amber's Craft Week blog, and welcome back to the Heyday series, where we go through various pages of the book Heyday and do activities relating to them. Now, as you may have noticed, my background is a little different. As many of you know, I teach intro physics for pre-med pre-vet students at the University of Maine, and now that my courses have been moved online, I'm using my filming space as my classroom. So don't worry, you don't have to learn physics. We're just going to be dyeing some eggs today, making some nice pastel eggs. Yes, we're dyeing the eggs themselves, not the shells. So in 2001, when this book was released, Easter happened later in April. So for April 21st, they have a thing on dyeing eggs. They give you some different veggies and fruits and things you can use to dye eggs. So they have, you can use cranberries or chopped beets or turmeric or yellow onion skins or spinach leaves or blueberries. Those are the options they give you. Now we're not actually going to use those specific ones. We are going to be using some food coloring that I have that's derived from plant sources, so same type of idea as this. And we're not going to be dyeing the egg shells, we're going to be dyeing the eggs. So for our egg dyeing, we are going to need some hard-boiled eggs, some food coloring, some glasses, and some water, which is not pictured. Now originally I was going to try just one dyeing technique, but since this egg ended up cracking when we were cooking it, I'm going to try a couple different techniques. So the first one I'm going to try is I'm going to go ahead and add more cracks into the shell of this one. So I've seen these cool like dragon eggs, and yeah, we're just going to carefully add a bunch of cracks. I don't know how well this one's going to work because this egg itself is actually a bit broken, but we're going to give it a try. So we're going to crack our shell up a bit, make sure the cracks don't actually fall off, and we're going to go ahead and set it in a glass. And we're going to go ahead and add some water to our glass. Next we're going to take our food coloring. I'm going to make this one red, I think. So we're going to take out our red food coloring. And we're just going to add a few drops of red food coloring to our water. So I've added 5 drops. The more drops you add, the stronger your color will be, but we don't need it to be super dark. So we're just going to add 4 drops and call it good, or 5 drops, sorry. So and then we're just going to kind of mix it up. We probably should mix it beforehand, but I'm not being super careful here. So we're just going to swirl the water around and food coloring. And you can see it's kind of a pinky red color. So that's what we're hoping is going to happen to our egg. It's going to kind of become that color. Now the tutorials for the dragon eggs I've seen online require you letting it sit for like a day. We're probably not going to let it sit for that whole time. We're just going to let it sit for a little while. And then we're going to call it good. While that one is sitting, we're going to go ahead and fill our other glasses with some water. And we're going to add a few drops of food coloring to these ones. So these eggs I'm going to make blue and green. So, or egg halves I should say, since I'm putting 1/2 of an egg in each one. So add a few drops of green. Let's go ahead and mix this up. That's not a super dark green, so let's add some blue to it. Let's also add blue to this water over here. That's very blue, so the blue is looking good. And let's keep mixing our colors. That's looking a little more green. And we get a blue. So next we're going to go ahead and peel this egg. So I'm going to do that off camera and then I'll be back. Alright, so now I'm back with our peeled egg. Now we're going to end up making deviled eggs out of these. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our egg in half very carefully. And then we're going to scoop out the insides and set those aside for later. So, one egg innard, second egg innard, and let's set that aside. I'm going to rinse our eggs real quick and then we're going to dunk them in water. Alright, so now we've rinsed our egg halves, so we're going to go ahead and dip them into the dyes. I'll put this one in the green. And this one in the blue. And now we'll let those sit for about 10 minutes. Alright, so you may have noticed that our water has gotten darker. I was getting a bit impatient with these, so I decided to go ahead and add some of our McCormick food coloring. So the natural one probably works okay if you just let them sit for a long time, but I wanted this to go faster, so I got out my McCormick dye and added a few drops of this to each of these. Now the one that got the least was the dragon egg one because I'm almost out of red McCormick dye, so I don't have very high hopes for that one. But the other two seem to have taken to the dye a little bit. Now it's been a little over 10 minutes since I added the McCormick dye, and they're just the faintest shade of color. So if you want richer colors, you'll want to keep them in for much longer than 10 minutes. I had read on one site last night that 10 minutes would be sufficient, but I don't think it really is. We're going to go ahead and work with it for today. So probably I'd say like at least an hour if you want more than just the bare minimum color. But yeah, let's pull these out of their dye baths and see how they're looking. Oops. This one's having some difficulties. Alright, so you can see this one is actually kind of a nice pastel green. That's really not too bad. And then our blue one, let's take a look at that one. That's also not too bad. So, some nice light pastel colors, so great for spring. And lastly, we'll take a look at our dragon egg and see how that came out. And then we'll go ahead and make some deviled eggs. So our dragon egg. So actually we do have some nice coloring in some patches for our dragon egg. It's not as bad as I was expecting. Honestly, I was expecting this to be a bit of a failure, but I'm not displeased with this at all, especially considering I only had it in there for a little over 10 minutes. Alright, so here's what our dragon egg looks like. It's a little bit mangled, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with how the coloring came out. I mean, this one was in the dye bath for only about 20 minutes, and it had just the natural food coloring in there, really. And it still came out with a nice little crackly pattern to it. So I would definitely try this again. Try it more carefully on an egg that isn't already broken, because that's where a lot of my issues came from, was it was broken, and so that made peeling it a little difficult. But definitely I'm going to try this again sometime in the future. I think that worked out really nicely. And so now we have to turn our eggs into deviled eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one in half carefully. Especially carefully since this one's already kind of broken. Oh, that's kind of a heart, the yolk. That's cute. Now we're going to go ahead and just empty our egg yolks into our bowl. Alright, so to make our deviled eggs, we're going to need our eggs, of course, some mayo, some mustard, and also some paprika, which is off to the side, which you can't see. Now, I've never tried making deviled eggs on such a small scale before, only 2 of them, so we're going to go ahead and start by mashing up our yolks a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of mayo, a little bit of mustard, and we're going to adjust as needed. And So I'm going to use, I don't know, just a smidge of mayo. Probably what would work out to be about a teaspoon. I'll add that in, mix this around, and see what kind of consistency we have. Alright, so that's coming along. We're probably going to need a little more mayo though, so maybe like 2 teaspoons. A teaspoon of mayo per egg. Yeah, that's more like the consistency we're looking for. Now I'm going to add just a few drops of mustard. Probably 4 drops. I get overwhelmed by mustard pretty easily, so I like to keep the mustard ratio low. And what I would generally do from here was, if we had more eggs than just the 2, I'd put this mixture into a plastic bag, cut out the tip, and then kind of use that as like a piping bag to pipe the mixture into it. It feels kind of like a waste with just 2 eggs, so I'm probably just going to spoon it in there. It's not going to look as aesthetically pleasing, but we'll get deviled eggs out of it, and that's the key thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little paprika over the top. And there you have it. Dyed deviled eggs. These aren't necessarily the most aesthetic looking deviled eggs because I did not use any kind of like piping bag or something for the yolk mixture. But I think the dyeing worked out really well. I'm really pleased with that. So here we have our dyed deviled eggs. On the whole, I'm really pleased with how these dyeing techniques came out. The 10 minutes actually didn't work out as badly as I kind of thought it would. So maybe 10 minutes is sufficient if you want pastel colored eggs. But yeah, really liking how these came out, and I definitely want to try both techniques again in the future. This was just kind of off the cuff, so if you'd like a nicer video tutorial in the future, then let me know and I can go ahead and do some more experimenting and find the right amount of time for dyeing the eggs and all that kind of stuff. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love it if you gave it a like. If you want to see more videos in the Heyday series, then you may want to subscribe. If you like crafts in general, you can check out my craft blog, amberscraftweek.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day!